Consensys is about to jump in bed with JP Morgan, the bank led by Jamie Dimon, who once called Bitcoin a fraud. So what does this mean for the Ethereum-based consulting company Consensys, and what does this mean for JP Morgan? And also, what about XRP? Let's discuss. So this is breaking news. JP Morgan is leading a $50 million round, and JP Morgan themselves are investing $20 million out of the $50 million for Consensys. For those of you guys that don't know, Consensys is the biggest Ethereum-based consulting company now in the world, led by Joseph Lubin, who is a co-founder of Ethereum. Yes, a co-founder of Ethereum. And he still actively works on Ethereum and works closely with Vitalik on many things. But the problem is he's been funding Consensys himself solely based on his Ethereum profits. But recently, hard times have hit Consensys, so there's been massive layoffs like this one where 14% of the staff was laid off. So now Joseph is looking for funding, and here comes JP Morgan. So JP Morgan is leading this $50 million round. And why are they doing this? Well, that's because JP Morgan has their own blockchain that they're using for their JP Morgan coin, and that is Quorum. Now, Quorum is an open source project started in 2016, and this is the blockchain that JP Morgan chose to run its JP Morgan coin, and also IIN. And I'm going to tell you what both of those are in a second. Now, what's important about Quorum is this is based on Ethereum. Yes, that is why JP Morgan has such interest in Consensys, obviously because they're the biggest Ethereum consulting company in the world. So the reason why JP Morgan is now jumping in bed with Consensys and becoming an investor is because JP Morgan wants Consensys expertise. They want Consensys to basically take over and support and maintain this Quorum blockchain for them. So that is what's going on. And it seems like because Consensys does have money problems, they're going forward with this. Now, this deal is not exactly done, but this has been leaked out. So this is what's going on behind the scenes right now. So JP Morgan, basically, they don't want to deal with Quorum anymore. That's not their expertise. They're a bank. They don't want to worry about it. So they want to offload that to Consensys, have Consensys actually support it and maintain it and possibly develop on top of it. And because of that, they're willing to invest in Consensys and lead this huge round. So this is a big deal for many reasons. Consensys and Joseph, they have close ties with Ethereum, obviously. And now they're jumping in bed with an evil bank that hates cryptocurrency. They're inviting in a bank that no one in the community could be cheering for. I just don't see any reason why people will be cheering for this. So I don't know how this is all going to shape out. So this is very, very interesting. Now, I mentioned XRP at the beginning because they're part of this, because the biggest competition to JP Morgan coin and IIN is Ripple and XRP. So some of you guys know about XRP, some of you guys don't, but here's a good summary of the differences between JP Morgan coin and Ripple / XRP. Now, I mentioned about IIN. So JP Morgan, when they first came out and announced JP Morgan coin, they basically developed a base of 200 banks already through something called Interbank Information Network, IIN. And this resides on the Quorum blockchain. Now, Ripple has also signed up 200 plus bank customers or financial institutions. But it's taken Ripple much longer. We're talking about almost a decade to get 200 customers. But some of those customers are pretty well known, right? For example, MoneyGram and also American Express and Western Union is testing them. So these are big names. However, because of JP Morgan, who they are, they signed up 200 banks almost immediately overnight. So they definitely are throwing their weight around. So in terms of the customer base, about the same. Now usage, you could argue that Ripple has more traction at this point, but it's really unknown because we don't know what's going on with JP Morgan coin at this time. Now, a big difference between JP Morgan coin and XRP is the fact that JP Morgan coin is a stable coin. It's pegged to the dollar. So every single one is $1, which for me, I think makes a whole lot of sense. XRP, on the other hand, of course, is not pegged to anything, and it fluctuates up and down, right? Right now, it's around 30 cents. Tomorrow, it could be 25 cents. So the next day, it could be $1, right? It fluctuates, and I think that hurts. It hurts its use case because banks and financial institutions, they're not going to want to hold on to any XRP because they don't want to risk it, right? So there's a big fundamental difference between JP Morgan coin and XRP. Another one is leadership, and I think this is a big one because you're talking about a centralized entity versus a decentralized entity, kind of. With JP Morgan, obviously, you know who you're dealing with. You know Jamie Dimon's leading the ship, and you know who to go to when you need help. Now, Ripple, on the other hand, does have clear leadership, but they don't control the network in any way. The network is run by the ledger and people supporting the ledger, right? And even Brad Garlinghouse has said in the past, if we wanted to shut down the ledger, we can't. If Ripple closes down tomorrow, the ledger will still be up. So yeah, that's great. So you're having like a centralized and decentralized system trying to melt together. Obviously, Ripple owns a vast majority of XRP tokens. They also pay for development. So yeah, so it's kind of centralized, kind of not. So it's really kind of like a weird setup right now between XRP and Ripple, where with JP Morgan, you don't have that confusion. Now, whether or not true centralized business versus a centralized / decentralized project, which one is better, that's unknown at this point. Now, one thing that is helping Ripple and XRP in this case is the fact that Ripple and XRP, they're kind of neutral right now. Where JP Morgan, obviously, they're JP Morgan. So JP Morgan will probably have a hard time convincing the other big banks like Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Bank of America to use JP Morgan coin, right? When these banks are in competition with them. Where Ripple and XRP, they don't really have this problem. The banks don't see Ripple and XRP as competition. So Ripple and XRP does have that leg up on the JP Morgan coin. Ultimately, both of these, what they're trying to do is facilitate near instant and feeless cross-border transactions like remittance payments or bank-to-bank transfers. Right now, it's dominated by SWIFT. And XRP and Ripple and JP Morgan, they're trying to change that, get rid of Nostros accounts, and basically make everything instantaneous and feeless. So that is what they're trying to accomplish. So in conclusion, what does this all mean? Well, it's really hard to say. It kind of boggles your mind if you step back and think about it, because the most hated bank in the crypto world, that's led by Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, is now jumping in bed with the biggest Ethereum consulting company in the world, Consensys, with very, very strong ties to the Ethereum community. So I don't know what to think about that. Obviously, right now, Ethereum is strong. Almost $50 billion in market cap. It has been going up. Almost $440 and looks to continue to go up. So this JP Morgan getting involved with Quorum and Consensys, does that change things? Right now, it's unknown. I mean, it looks like it's not, but who knows? As an investor, maybe they're going to start dictating what Consensys can and cannot do in the future. And maybe this is a bad thing for Ripple and XRP. Maybe this strengthens the Quorum lead and strengthens the JP Morgan coin, and that puts XRP in a bad position. Right now, I don't know. This is all speculated. It is very, very early. All right, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a match made in heaven, or is this a horrible, horrible decision on Consensys' part to let JP Morgan in and get in bed with them? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for my other videos.